Good morning, this is Jason, Zombie Collector, and it is a beautiful morning here in Indiana. This a week from today was when the tornado hit the town I live in and here in Indiana, and I kind of thought it would be a nice conversation piece to ask you all some questions. So I'm not going to rehash a lot of it, but I will just say again, for the people who didn't watch my live streams, a tornado hit on Memorial Day last week at 8:00 p.m. and it destroyed the little town I lived in a lot of ways, the areas that it touched down in, and my house pretty much came unscathed, which was a blessing. I don't have a basement or anything of that truly says I'm protected. So I was very grateful. Ended up going kind of around my house, but the surrounding streets and town around was decimated in a lot of ways. Trees pulled out from its roots and thrown on houses, and roofs caving in, and trees in the roads and power lines. And it took 3 days before they could get my power back on at my house. And so anyway, like I said, it was bad, and I was at the house when the tornado hit. I had no time to kind of like react in a way that I can go to like a friend's house who had a basement. So I just was kind of like, stuck, and just very, by the grace of God, it was kind of went over me or whatever. It didn't actually touch the ground or whatever. I had some minimal damage to my house and my garage, which I'm very fortunate. But that kind of got me thinking about questions. Now, I know we're all over the United States. A lot of us live on the East Coast. A lot of us live in and around Florida. A lot of us are on the West Coast. And a lot of us are kind of in the middle like me. I know there's a bunch of us that live in like the prairie states, the Midwest, the South, things of that sort. So all of us can come into contact with natural disasters, acts of God, Mother Nature, when she decides to raise her head and hand in defiance. Now I was going to ask, have anybody experienced any natural disasters in your life? If so, what kind, and kind of, if you can explain, in so many words in a message or whatever, what was the natural disaster? What was the situation? And then, what happened? I know there's, tornadoes here, there's earthquakes, you have hurricanes. I think those are your three, main ones. I know last year, Tony, psyched on baseball cards, he had the forest fires out in California. The fires were really close to his house. He said he could see it, smell it, whatever the case may be, and so there's like, those fires will get crazy, especially out in California, because of the weather gets really dry, and then usually some moron lights a cigarette or a lighter or something and causes a fire to go. So, so I know you have those things, which, oh man, I just got a big old coyote on the road, just got killed. Looks pretty fresh. That is not a natural disaster. But I was going to ask you if y'all went through that, and what was that experience like? When I was living in Japan, the Indonesian tsunami that happened like in 2000, I believe, 4. I was living in Japan, and we felt that for sure. I mean, obviously, Japan didn't get anywhere near what happened to Indonesia, because Indonesia, like hundreds, thousands of people died. But we got the after effects of that, and it was bad for a day or so. We had a couple tsunamis when I was living in Japan hit Japan, and it was, like I said, pretty scary. But we didn't live. I didn't live actually. I mean, even though Japan's an island and you're surrounded by water, I lived far enough inland that it didn't feel as scary as if you lived on the coast. I'm sure if you lived on the coast, it was a different experience, and you'd be a lot more scared. I had a couple earthquakes. Again, nothing major. Of course, Japan is very much known for earthquakes, and but I never experienced anything too wild and crazy. So I went through tsunamis and earthquakes, tornadoes now, and all that. So it was definitely an experience I would not like to relive ever again. It was an F2, they called it, the tornado eye we were in, and it was so scary. I can't even imagine anything more powerful than that. And so if you all survived or went through something that was a lot more powerful, then I would definitely be interested in hearing what your all's experiences have been through those natural disasters or whatnot. So anyways, not a super long video today. Just thought I'd just ask that question, pose it. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's June now, first week in June, and my son will have travel baseball. We're leaving to go to Ohio this weekend, so that'll be exciting that we're going to be there in Sandusky for a tournament. So if you live in the Sandusky area, you come by and watch some baseball with us. It'll be cool. If not, then I still will be your friend, because I know that's what it's all about, being friends, because you're so worried about if I'm going to be your friend or not, because I'm such a big deal. Well, you know, as I always say, because it's the most important thing on my channel is the likes and the subscribers. So, you know, submit, like, subscribe, and do what you got to do. Be somebody who likes somebody, who tastes somebody, who spanks somebody.